You could move mountains for her, give her your best years, even try to hand her the world itself, yet she might still walk away without looking back. That truth stings, but it's one every man eventually faces. The reality is simple. Women don't fall for the checklist of things you do. They fall for something far deeper. And if you don't understand it, you'll keep exhausting yourself while she quietly drifts away. You might shower her with gifts, solve her problems, and stay by her side every moment. But if you're not giving her what truly awakens her desire, none of it will matter. She'll lose interest, start treating you like you're replaceable, and leave you wondering, how could she forget everything I gave? That's why this channel exists. Here, we don't sugarcoat. We strip away illusions and speak with clarity, truth, and stoic presence. So men stop wasting their energy chasing approval and finally understand what creates lasting impact. Today's topic is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. We're uncovering 5 things a woman actually craves and why effort alone never makes her stay. This isn't about blaming women, it's about understanding them. So you reclaim your strength, your time, and your peace. So, why do good men keep getting overlooked? Because they believe being nice, loyal, and endlessly generous is enough. But attraction doesn't work that way. Women don't fall in love with effort, they fall in love with impact. Before we dive in, tell me your name, where you're from, and what challenge you're facing in your relationship, so I and the brotherhood around you can support. And now, let's begin the journey. Number 1, effort doesn't equal desire. Most men are raised to believe the harder they try, the more they'll be valued. That works in school, in sports, and in business. But when it comes to women, that rule can backfire. A woman doesn't automatically feel desire just because a man is trying his best. In fact, pouring on too much effort too soon often comes across as desperate, needy, and low value. Desire isn't a checklist, it's an emotion. She doesn't think, he texts every morning and bought me dinner twice, so I must like him. Attraction doesn't follow logic like that. What she craves is a pull toward you that she can't fully explain. And that pull comes from your presence, confidence, and the sense that you're not completely predictable. Think of the difference. One man rushes to give her everything, while another shows genuine interest, but still lives his own life, his own rhythm. The second man sparks curiosity, and curiosity grows into attraction. The lesson is simple. Effort without emotional impact is wasted. Number 2, she craves emotional power, not just presence. Here's a truth. Most men miss a woman doesn't fall for the man who simply gives her the most. She falls for the man who makes her feel the most. It isn't about the gifts, the favors, or the constant attention. It's about the emotional atmosphere you create when she's with you. Many men assume that the more they provide, the more she will recognize their value and stay, but what she secretly wants is emotional leverage, the feeling that she has your attention and focus without being able to control you completely. This subtle tension is what keeps her invested. Think about it. You could plan her birthday down to every detail, spend money freely, and treat her like royalty. Yet she might still feel disconnected. Why? Because desire isn't fueled by routine generosity. It's fueled by the emotions you spark in her presence. If she feels she holds all the certainty and control, attraction dies quickly. She doesn't want endless security. She wants stimulation, curiosity, and a touch of unpredictability. Predictability is comfortable, but it isn't romantic. Emotional engagement is. This is where many men stumble. They confuse providing for a woman with truly moving her emotionally. You can be generous without being weak, loving without being predictable, and steady without giving away your power. Remember, women crave to feel alive. It's the man who can stir her emotions, not just fill her schedule, who keeps her coming back. Number 3, nice guys are her safety net, not her choice. You've heard it all your life: be kind, be respectful, always be there for her. On paper, it sounds like a winning formula, but in the real world, that advice often backfires. The man who plays the nice guy doesn't get chosen, he gets used. At best, he becomes the safety net, the emotional spare tire, the man she calls when her world is falling apart, but not the man she dreams of when the night is quiet. He listens, he comforts, he waits, hoping that one day she'll see his worth. Deep down, though, even he knows the truth. He's not her first choice. He's the safe option. Women will praise the nice guy, saying, "He's so sweet," or "He's always there for me." But notice, when those words are spoken, it's often while she's texting someone else. The man who actually sparks her desire, safety and attraction, don't always live in the same house. You can give her everything, yet still not be the man she fantasizes about. The more predictable you are, the more invisible you become. The nice guy never pulls back, never challenges here, never says no. He bends over backward to make her comfortable, and in doing so, he becomes forgettable. It's not that women dislike nice men, it's that niceness without strength carries no weight. Think of it, when was anyone magnetically drawn to a doormat? What she feels for the nice guy is control, and control suffocates mystery, tension, and passion. If she knows your every move before you make it, if she's certain you'll always be there no matter what, you stop being a challenge and start being a guarantee. And nobody gets excited about guarantees. Women are emotional beings. They crave polarity. They want a man who is grounded, yet not passive, kind, yet not spineless, available, yet not desperate. Have you ever been the guy she vented to about her boyfriend, the one she truly desired? You sat there listening, biting your tongue, thinking, if only she saw how I treat her. That's the trap. That's how you become the emotional support pet instead of the man she longs for. Being good isn't the problem, but being nice at the cost of your own standards, that's self-erasure. She's not tallying your kindness, she's feeling your energy. If that energy is weak, hesitant, or begging for approval, you've already lost. Niceness is expected. It's the bare minimum. What separates you is strength, direction, and the courage to say, this doesn't work for me, and walk away if necessary. Stoicism reminds us that a man's peace can never depend on anyone else, not even on a woman. Marcus Aurelius didn't beg for recognition. He built his worth from within. Stop orbiting her life like a satellite. Live like a star in your own universe. If she fits, she fits. If not, you expand without apology. That shift transforms you from fallback to focus, from tolerated to unforgettable. If you've ever been the man she leaned on until someone better came along, drop a comment below. Because when you stop trying to be chosen, you become impossible to ignore. Number 4, validation makes you weak in her eyes. Let's be clear from the start. Everyone enjoys appreciation. A compliment feels good. Being told you matter can lift your ego in the right way. But here's the danger: when your identity, your sense of worth, is built on hearing those words, especially from her, it's no longer validation, it's dependence. And women can sense that dependence instantly. Understand this: constantly seeking validation isn't just unattractive, it's repelling. It signals to her that your confidence is fragile, that you need her to crown you as a man before you can feel like one. The moment she sees that, everything shifts. She stops looking up to you and starts looking down on you. The polarity reverses. A man chasing approval does not lead, he follows. And following energy always kills attraction. Think about it when you fish for compliments. Over-explain yourself. Or nervously ask, "Are you upset every time she go quiet?" You're bleeding masculine energy. You know that sinking feeling, the way you shrink instead of holding your ground. The way you apologize for having standards, just so she doesn't get uncomfortable. That's not strength, that's performance. And every time you do it, you train her to lose respect for you. Don't twist this message. Stoicism doesn't mean becoming cold or robotic, but your core cannot be auctioned off every time her mood changes. When you outsource your self-worth to her attention, you send one clear message: your value is negotiable. And no woman finds it attractive to be in charge of your confidence. It's not sexy, it's exhausting. What she truly wants is a man who's rooted, a man who can face silence, distance, even conflict, and remain calm, not flinching, not crumbling, not chasing. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Why? Because they knew the opinions of others, especially temporary approval, are shifting winds, not solid foundations. You can't build a grounded life on moods that change by the hour. So how do you break free from the validation trap? You start by noticing it. That flash of anxiety when she leaves you on read. The urge to over-explain when you feel misunderstood. That dip in mood when she isn't responsive. Catch it. Name it. But resist acting on it. Instead, act from principle, from direction. Ask yourself, what would the man I want to become do right now? Not the scared boy. Not the eager pleaser, but the man. When you start living that way, your energy changes. You shift from needy to magnetic, from reactive to composed, from waiting to be chosen to already being enough. And she feels it. She respects it. And attraction naturally follows. If this hit you hard, good. It means you're waking up. This channel isn't for passive listeners. It's for men ready to stop begging and start owning their presence. Subscribe now. Step inside and join us. Because validation won't make you strong, but building yourself from the inside out that will make you unforgettable. Number 5. Mystery beats consistency every time. Here's a hard truth if you've ever believed. I just need to show her I'm dependable, or if I keep showing up, eventually she'll see my worth. You've already lost ground. You don't even realize it. But you're playing the wrong game. When it comes to attraction, especially female attraction, mystery always outweighs consistency. That may sound backward. We've been told for years that reliability, availability, and steadiness are the keys to making a woman feel secure. And while consistency has value, there's a fatal flaw. Men overlook consistency without polarity becomes monotony. Think about it. You send the good morning text every day. You check in on her schedule. You always plan the dates. You pour out compliments. You're steady, safe, predictable, and slowly, without her even noticing, the spark fades. Why? Because when she can anticipate everything you'll say or do, she stops feeling anything at all. You don't stir her emotions. You don't spark curiosity. You don't create the gravity that draws her closer. Desire is not fueled by predictability. It's fueled by contrast and uncertainty. The healthy kind that whispers, "I don't fully have him yet." That subtle gap is what makes her lean in, replay your words, and wonder what you're thinking. Nice. Consistent men erase that gap by oversharing, over-explaining, and over-committing. They leave nothing to the imagination. Meanwhile, the man who replies when he's ready, who doesn't expose his entire life, who shows up unpredictably yet intentionally, that man leaves behind a trail of tension. And that tension is the birthplace of attraction. Let's be clear, mystery is not manipulation. It isn't about playing childish games or withholding affection to provoke a reaction. It's about having a life that doesn't orbit entirely around her. It's about being unavailable sometimes, not to punish her, but because you're busy building something meaningful. It's about leaving certain parts of yourself unspoken, not fake, simply not displayed for free. Here's a truth most men never hear when you leave space for her curiosity. She becomes emotionally invested. Her thoughts return to you, not because you forced them, but because you didn't overexpose yourself. Think about it. What makes a great movie? It isn't knowing every detail in advance. It's the suspense, the unanswered question, the slow reveal. Women respond to the same rhythm emotionally. The nice guy ruins it by showing the entire film in the trailer. No suspense. No edge. No decide. Mystery keeps her curious. Consistency, when overdone, only makes her comfortable. And comfort without attraction is the slow death of romance. The Stoics understood this perfectly. A Stoic man doesn't perform for attention. He doesn't overshare. He speaks less, observes more, acts with deliberation. Marcus Aurelius never wrote, "Make sure they understand you." He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The lesson: don't explain away the mystery. Don't ruin the edge by chasing approval. True strength is knowing when to step into the light and when to disappear into the shadows. Mystery is not about being hard to get, it's about being hard to forget. So let me ask you, have you noticed the shift when you stopped being overly available? Drop a comment below. I felt that because once you master the art of mystery, you stop begging for attention and start living in her mind long after you've left the room. Number 6, she wants to feel challenged, not worried. Let's set the record straight. A woman doesn't want a fan club, she wants a force. If you think putting her on a pedestal, praising every breath she takes, and treating her like she's flawless will secure her devotion, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. What feels like romance to you often feels hollow to her. Women don't crave perfection. They crave polarity. And polarity isn't born from worship, it's born from challenge. But here's the catch: challenge doesn't mean starting arguments, nitpicking, or stirring drama. That's immaturity disguised as strength. Real challenge is energetic. It's the aura of a man who says, without words, "I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to meet you as an equal and push you when you're soft." It's the ability to disagree with her without fearing she'll walk away. It's holding firm when she tests your limits. It's calling her out, not to bruise her ego, but to awaken her standards, whether she admits it or not. She wants to feel that energy. Emotional tension, when created in the right way, is what keeps desire alive. Think about it. Have you ever bent over backward to keep her happy? Always said the right thing? Hid your true thoughts just to keep the peace, only to watch her interest fade? That's not bad luck. That's the trap of worship. When she senses you're molding yourself around her, never pushing back, never leading, the dynamic changes. At first, she may enjoy the attention, but eventually the energy flips. You become predictable. You become soft. You become easy to dominate. And no woman respects a man she can dominate. Attraction dies the moment she feels more masculine than you. Worship does that. It flips the polarity. You stop being the grounded leader and turn into the emotional follower. Even if she stays physically, she's already pulled away inside. But challenge changes the game. When you challenge her mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you activate something deeper than surface-level attraction. You awaken her respect. You trigger her growth instinct, and you spark her desire to rise up and meet you at your level. Challenge doesn't mean controlling her. It's not a power trip. It's standing solid in your principles and inviting her to do the same. It's telling her, "I hear you, but I don't agree," and not folding when she pushes back. It's saying no when she expects yes, not to punish her, but to prove that your attention must be earned, not handed out like charity. It's holding space when she's emotional, not rushing to fix or please, but staying steady like a mountain. That kind of presence makes her lean in. She doesn't want to be worried. She wants to know she's with a man who sees her fully, her flaws, her brilliance, her edges, and doesn't lose himself in her beauty. That's why Stoicism gives men an edge. Stoic men don't chase chaos. They don't idolize anyone, not even the woman they love. They enter relationships with values, composure, and an anchored sense of self. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, "Flatter those who matter." He said, "Waste no time worrying about what others think of you." So stop asking how to make her like you. Ask instead, am I living in a way that commands respect, even if no one applauds? If you've ever lost someone by being too safe, too nice, or too pleasing, it's because you weren't meant to worship her. You were meant to inspire her. Number 7, being needed is not the same as being wanted. Here's a harsh truth. Many men refuse to face being needed is not the same as being wanted. Too many fall into the illusion that if a woman depends on them, if they solve her problems, carry her when she's down, and rescue her from chaos that somehow secures a permanent place in her heart. It feels noble, even masculine, but the reality is different. Need and desire are not the same currency. Need creates dependency, and dependency is rooted in survival, not passion. A woman may cling to you because she's afraid, because it's convenient, or because she lacks stability. But clinging isn't choosing. Clinging is desperation. And building attraction on desperation is like constructing a house on quicksand. It won't last. When someone needs you, you're serving a function. When someone wants you, you are the function. And deep down, you've probably felt this difference. Maybe you were the one she leaned on when her world was falling apart. She vented to you, cried on your shoulder, and relied on your support. In that chaos, you felt chosen, even important. But as soon as she regained balance, when her life came together again, her behavior shifted. Suddenly, she wasn't calling as much. Suddenly, you weren't as exciting. And in that moment, you realized the bitter truth. She never truly desired you. She simply needed you until she didn't. You weren't her priority. You were her crutch. And a crutch is always temporary. Being useful doesn't equal being magnetic. Being reliable doesn't equal being valued for who you are. Utility fades the moment she finds stability. And if your entire identity rests on being needed, you will keep seeking broken, chaotic, emotionally unstable partners, because that's the only place you feel important. But that isn't strength. That's a trap. Stoicism calls this out clearly. Do not confuse comfort with clarity. Clarity means recognizing that being someone's emotional bandage is not the same as being someone's emotional fire. So what's the shift? You stop trying to be needed. You stop bending yourself into usefulness. Instead, you stand firm in your presence. You show up, not as the fixer, but as the standard. You become the man who doesn't chase dysfunction to feel powerful, but who radiates strength from within. That energy rooted, calm, whole is what draws people in naturally. Say it again, being needed reflects her lack. Being wanted reflects your presence. When you embody standards, when you set boundaries, when you refuse to stay in a one-sided dynamic, you transform. You stop being replaceable. You stop being convenient. You start being chosen because of who you are, not because of what you can patch. And here's the painful but freeing truth: when a relationship is built on being needed, it has an expiration date. The moment she no longer requires your support, the bond withers. But when it's built on mutual desire, it grows, even as circumstances change. So don't aim to be her rock because she's drowning. Be the mountain that stands tall regardless. Wanted, not used. Never again mistaken for a tool. Comment below: I've seen this. If you've ever been discarded the moment she no longer needed you, you know exactly how sharp this lesson cuts. But once you see it, you never fall for it again. Number 8. The less you react, the more she feels. Here's a lesson most men never hear: the man who stays calm, who refuses to react instantly, is the one she can't stop thinking about. It sounds simple, almost counterintuitive, but let's dive deeper. From a young age, men are taught to be emotionally available, answer quickly, Validate constantly. Never let her sit in uncertainty. On paper, that sounds like good advice. Be responsive. Stay open. Keep her secure. But here's the paradox, that very hyper-responsiveness usually backfires. Why? Because female emotions don't flourish in total stability, they come alive in polarity. And one of the greatest forces of polarity is restraint. Now, restraint doesn't mean going cold, shutting her out, or ghosting. It means being composed. It's the discipline to watch instead of react, to absorb pressure without losing your ground. It's staying centered when she pushes, when she tests, when she tries to rattle your frame. And believe me, she will, on some level. Every woman wants to know, can I shake him? Can I make him lose himself? If the answer is yes, if every mood swing, every delayed reply, every wave of withdrawal gets a rise out of you, she stops seeing you as steady. You become just another wave tossed around in her emotional ocean. But if the answer is no, if you stay deliberate, thoughtful, measured, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, she's the one leaning in. That quiet strength, that calm energy creates masculine tension. It's emotional gravity, and it makes her feel far more than a flood of emojis or 3-paragraph messages ever could. That tension is the spark. That's what she remembers. And here's what most men miss. Reacting too quickly often comes not from love, but from insecurity. You're afraid of silence. You're afraid of losing her attention. You're afraid of not fixing the mood immediately. But that fear leaks. And once she senses it, the polarity flips. She becomes the emotional leader. And once she feels she's leading the emotional dance, desire starts to fade. Because women don't want to manage men, they want to feel guided by them. And leadership doesn't mean control. It means calm direction, intention, and patience. Picture this. She's upset, emotional. If you rush in with frantic apologies and nervous energy, she doesn't feel safe. She feels like she's with a boy, trying not to get in trouble. But if you hold her gaze, steady, and say, I hear you. Take your time. You've just brought masculine energy into the room. You didn't run. You didn't chase. You didn't react. You responded. And that distinction is everything. This is where Stoicism speaks loudly. The Stoics called it ataraxia, inner tranquility, the ability to remain unshaken in storms. It's not numbness. It's not coldness. It's refusing to waste energy on things unworthy of it. Petty arguments, passive-aggressive texts, emotional baiting, tests of your frame. You don't prove your value with reactions. You prove it with stillness, with presence, with composure. So remember this, the less you react, the more she feels, not because you're playing games, but because your steadiness creates space. And in that space, she reflects, she wonders, she leans in. That's magnetic. Comment below. I felt that if you've ever lost control trying to hold on to her, only to feel emptier after, you know this truth already. Take back the remote. Stay solid, because when she can't move you like every other man, she starts to respect you, and where respect grows, desire follows. Number 9, if she doesn't earn you. She won't value you. Let's stop pretending for a moment. Men are often told that the way to win a woman's heart is to give endlessly, be available. Be generous. Be consistent. Just keep showing up. And while none of those traits are bad in themselves, here's the harsh reality. If she doesn't have to earn you, she won't value you. Deep down, you've already seen this truth play out in your own life. Think back. You gave her your time, your energy, your devotion, maybe even your money. You placed her ahead of your ambitions, ahead of your own self-respect. At first, she seemed appreciative, even affectionate, but slowly, almost quietly, the shift began. She pulled back. She grew less impressed, less engaged, less invested, and you were left wondering, after everything I gave, what went wrong? The answer is simple: you gave before she proved she was worthy of receiving. Here's a principle that applies to both men and women. No one treasures what comes too easily. When you hand out your attention, your presence, and your commitment without requiring anything in return, she unconsciously files you under default. And you never want to be the default option. You want to be the reward. This is where most men misunderstand the concept of standards. They think making her earn them means acting distant, ignoring her, or playing hard to get back. That's not it. It runs deeper. It means living by values, not tricks. It's knowing what kind of energy deserves access to your world. You're not punishing her. You're not setting hoops for her to jump through. You're showing her that your time, your focus, and your commitment are reserved for a woman who invests in you equally with honesty, effort, and consistency. When she earns you, she values you, she respects you, because she had to bring something to the table. She had to show up, and that's why casual flings burn out so fast. There's no process, no build-up, just instant access. And instant access always leads to quick indifference. But when she senses that your attention isn't free, that it's not for sale, not given to every woman, that's when she becomes engaged, curious, and drawn in. She wonders, what makes this man so centered, so grounded in his own worth? That's when attraction deepens. Not just physically, but mentally. Stoicism echoes this truth. A Stoic man doesn't chase people or beg for recognition. His peace is rooted within. He moves with purpose, and that purpose quietly pulls others toward him. So remember this: if you give too much, too soon, you'll teach her to take you for granted. But when you live by standards, you stop being the guy who hopes to be chosen and start being the man who sets the bar. Comment below. I felt that if you've ever watched her lose interest after you gave everything up front, you know the pain. But it's also your wake-up call. Raise the bar, and she either rises with you or fades away behind you. Number 10. Emotional detachment is your superpower. Let's close with a truth. Most men never master emotional detachment. Is not weakness, it's your hidden strength. Many confuse it with being cold, distant, or robotic. But real detachment is none of those. True detachment isn't shutting down or pretending not to care. It's the ability to feel deeply, but not be controlled by what you feel. This is where most men lose their footing. The more you cling to her moods, her reactions, her validation, the more you hand her control. Every time you panic at silence, chase after mood swings, or crumble when she withdraws, you give away your frame. You stop leading. You start chasing. And when you spiral into her emotional world, your power slips away. Detachment pulls it back. Emotional detachment is the discipline to pause instead of panic, to sit with discomfort without rushing to fix it, to watch her step back and not collapse inside, to face rejection, ghosting, or hot and cold behavior without losing yourself. That's what makes you magnetic, not because you're playing games, but because you're not emotionally dependent. Emotional independence is rare, and that rarity is what makes it powerful. Here's the paradox. The man who needs her love to feel whole will never earn her respect, but the man who can walk away, who values his peace above her approval, is the one she obsesses over. That's what Stoicism trains, not numbness, but strength. Detachment means you observe pain, frustration, even desire, but you choose your actions rather than letting emotion drag you like a puppet on strings. And in a world of constant reaction, the man who chooses is rare. He becomes the calm in the storm, focused, steady, immovable. That's the man she respects. That's the man she follows. But make no mistake, this isn't built overnight. Detachment is trained. Every time you don't text back just to get a reaction, you're training. Every time you hold steady instead of demanding resolution, you sharpen your edge. Every time you allow space without begging, you grow more dangerous in the best possible way. Suddenly, she can't manipulate you with silence. She can't control you with withdrawal. She can't push your buttons because you've removed them. You're in control. Comment below, I want this. If you're done being played by your emotions and ready to build real strength, let this be your reminder. Emotional detachment isn't a wall, it's a throne. You don't need to shield yourself from her, you need to protect your peace from your own weakness. Choose stillness over drama, clarity over chaos, yourself over temporary approval. That's what makes you unshakable. And when you're unshakable, you're unforgettable. That's your superpower. Use it. You've made it to the end. And that tells me something important. You're not here for shortcuts or quick tricks. You're here because you want to grow, to sharpen yourself into a stronger, calmer man. At the core of everything we've talked about, detachment, boundaries, presence. It was never just about women. It's about you, the man you decide to become when no one is clapping, when she pulls away, when life tests you without mercy. That's where true masculinity is forged, not in comfort, but in challenge. So, if you're ready to keep building that version of yourself, stay with us. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and don't miss what's coming next. Until then, stay calm, stay sharp, and never surrender your power to anyone.